My name's Aaron. Welcome back to my channel. How are you? I'm fantastic and I'm doing really well. And today I'm reviewing Rose Kabuki. There better be rose in this, by Christian Dior. This is £245 for 125ml and £345 for 250ml. And it says, the name homage to Kabuki, the traditional Japanese theatre. Rose Kabuki is a fragrance that boldly combines the freshness of rose with the scent of powder. Oh dear. Inspired by the face makeup worn by the actors on stage. So this is a light floral. Rose Kabuki is the pure and immediate fragrance of the sense of newly bloomed rose that bursts with generosity. A fragrance with powdery nuances like a delectably dusted bouquet of roses. I'm kind of regretting this already, to be honest. It sounds like my worst nightmare. It smells like Nana's Knickerdraw, which I'm really not into. But anyway, surprised it hasn't been cancelled. There's cancel culture for Rose Kabuki, cultural appropriation, all that. Again, super professional. The correct inky at the bottom. It's perfect. Teeny tiny little bottle. Do we have our bottles of Rose Kabuki by Christian Dior, or are we engaged with the high sell? Let's get testing. Let's look at the atomizer on the little bottle. I'm kind of dreading this because it says it's like powdery rose. This is exactly what it's saying in the description. I mean, it kind of like dead on. I mean, this I think is marketing saying we want this going to the perfumer and the perfumer creating it dead on, which is an amazing talent, isn't it? If you think about it, that somebody describing what my job is the other day, which is a bit weird, but I was sort of saying that, I create, and all perfumers create a finished fragrance, which should be sort of used in the olfactory gland, so a finished smell, out of aroma chemicals and naturals of different viscosities that do different things, all these different classifications. And when you buy it, you're buying something that smells finished. And if you actually think about what it is, you're getting between, a perfume can be from 4 things within a sort of 4 aroma chemicals or naturals within a formula, right up to sort of over 100. And if you think you're combining all those things together to create a finished fragrance, you have to have unique skills to it. I think it's a very difficult job. You're spending months working at one part of a fragrance, or working at this or working at that, or adjusting this, and you have to rebuild the whole thing and you have to adjust it. It can be exhausting, and I really think you have to have a labor of love, and you have to have patience. You also have to have a lot of chemistry knowledge and a lot of chemistry background to it as well, because you really are, and maths, your math has to be sort of spot on as well. I was thinking the other day, I'm babbling a little bit, but I'll tell you anyway, you have to sort of have the ability to see something in 3D finished. And the training which sort of helped me the most was organic chemistry. At university, when we were doing chirality and things, we were building the molecules in space, and we could see the rotation, and we could sort of see, the different color balls for whatever it was, oxygen, all this, that, and the other. You went from that to seeing the molecule finished and rotating in your brain and interacting. And I think that development within my chemistry unbelievably helped me with development of perfume, because I think about how raw materials sort of interact together, and I can sort of see them finished. And I think that sort of skill and knowing how things work from just sort of experimenting is sort of like key importance. The organic chemistry, the rotation of molecules, the sort of this and that, it unbelievably helps me create fragrance. That's the sort of, I noticed the other day I'm using that mind which I developed in university within, daily, and it's quite strong. This is radiant. So going back to this, as I'm saying that, this is a really radiant perfume. So radiance is a skill. Radiance and longevity is a skill within perfumery. So this is based upon ethylene bracelet. It's quite soft. The dry down of this is very nice. So you have the ethylene bracelet, either Hedion or Hysis Hedion Isuisuba. And that is giving that sort of anchor to the skin and that sort of that softness. The powderiness is the inones with vanillin, or iron-ons on its own. Very soft. It's got like a really velvet quality, and that is the musk choice. We're giving the softness from the muscol. Natural musk give you sort of the softness. Phenol ether alcohol is giving you the rose-like qualities with the damascone and the DMBCA and the citronellal and the rose oxide. All of that. This is a classic way to build a rose accord within perfume. So this has got the waxel, all begins with H. That gives you the dewy-like feel. This really smells like rose petals, you know, that sort of dew to it, which I think is just beautiful. With those sort of raw materials, there are enormous classification, quinol, florazole, all of that sort of stuff can be used to give sort of like that dew-like raw materials mixed with the floral compounds, the geraniol, the linalool, citronellal, phenol ether alcohol, rose oxide, DMBCA, all of that. So that is the core of this, with the lily of the valley raw materials giving further softness and fluffiness. Exaltone is a very expensive musk. That's solid at room temperature. I don't like working with Exaltone because it feels like it goes to my skin and makes it feel a bit funny in the brain. So kind of like I have to wear gloves and all that stuff and open all the doors. That's the only musk that does that to me, but it gives a really beautiful, soft roundedness. And this is a beautifully soft, rounded, floral fragrance. The sort of sweetness into it is with the ylang-ylang cedarwood. It's giving this sort of like very natural feel to it. Onto my final thoughts. I mean, this is not for me at all. I mean, I think it's definitely feminine leading. I mean, I never try to categorize fragrances because I think you like what you like. I would always encourage people to sort of try stuff because you may love a fragrance that is really sort of like this because it does smell very clean, and generally floral fragrances have that cleanness. The floral fragrance which comes to mind is that Olympia one. I love that and I would have worn that. You see, and I think the Dolce & Gabbana light blue for females, for me, I prefer that to the male one, you see. So I think sometimes we have to break free. I mean, some people like traditionally like really strong Old Spices or like these really strong, there's some fragrances which are very masculine leaning, and that's absolutely fine. But I think sometimes this can just sort of smell sort of fruity, it sort of smells a bit rhubarb, a bit strawberry, like fabric conditioner, rose fabric conditioner, which is beautiful. So it smells clean, fresh, linen-like. And I think some men could wear this. I think it's very inoffensive, but to me, it does smell sort of more female leading. It reminds me a lot of sort of clean floral fragrances that are around. To me, it kind of smells very sophisticated. It smells very beautiful. But the price, I kind of think, you know, I imagine that there's lots of fragrances which have this sort of finish in it for less. And it's not particularly unique. It's not particularly, it smells of like clean, fresh rose, not too powdery actually, which is sort of great. So this I think is more female, you know, again, professional work setting, has beautiful sort of like effervescence, lift, sillage and longevity, but it's not for me. But I think it's really beautifully created. I'm going to mark it an 8 out of 10, just not for me, but I think it's really great and I can admire the skill in this. The one thing which I like more than anything is I imagine that the marketing would have gone, I imagine it would have been with the sort of color cosmetics as well, or would have been with something, it would have been a whole thing. I can imagine they would say, we've got this, maybe the clothes or something, and they would have shown clothes or makeup or something. And the perfume would have been like, had to create something. And that to me sounds like an amazing challenge. It sounds really fun to sort of like get something and create it through the perfumer's brain to sort of be like something. I think that's the thing I like. I can really sort of see that quite clearly with this. So if you love that review, thumbs up and subscribe. More fascinating, interesting content, lots of moving hands and lots of fragrance views. Hope you're staying safe and well. See you soon.